That $8,000 additional, depending on how they price it in terms of the subscription for this, at a time when, of course, they've cut the price of their models in that Chinese market.
Up 25 bucks in like 3 days, Tesla, while the rest of the market kind of went into a meltdown mode.
Tesla has put some very lofty timelines out into consumers' minds and into the markets before.
They're capturing more data than anyone, and we're going to flip the switch nationally and perhaps globally all at once.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is down in the pre-market a little over 1%, currently sitting at $227.40. For the week, Tesla is up almost 9.5%. For the month, up over 15%. But year to date, Tesla is down a little over 9%. Tesla currently has a market cap of a little less than $750 billion. Is it destined to return to 52-week highs and maybe higher? Or does TSLA plan to return to 52-week lows?
The rollout, I mean, they've had some trials, but this seems to be quite an announcement in terms of full self-driving on the European roads. I mean, do they have the political backing for this?
Yeah, look, this is really consequential. In terms of the details, FSD, by the way, full self-driving, Tesla admits this, it's not actually full self-driving, it's a level of autonomy that gets you closer to that. So the naming is a little off, but Tesla have acknowledged that. It's consequential because they charge about $8,000 a year for a subscription to this in the US.
$99 for a month for a year. I'm no mathematician, but that's not $8,000. If you spend $8,000 on FSD at the moment, you get FSD for the life of your vehicle. Despite this error, let's continue to hear what this individual has to say.
So it's a potential additional revenue driver for them, both in Europe and in China. The China part's really interesting. Elon Musk made a trip there in April. He was going to go to India and meet the Prime Minister Modi there. He decided to ditch that and go and meet the Premier of China instead to push for this and lobby for this. He's made a couple of tests in China. He's had to sign a deal with Baidu on the mapping component for this full self-driving autonomy. And he's had to come up with some assurances for China around data and privacy concerns, data security and privacy concerns. It seems like he has either met those, or they have either met those, or will be meeting those soon, because he's looking at that rollout in the first quarter of next year. So what do they get from this in that market? Possibly that $8,000 additional, depending on how they price it in terms of the subscription for this, at a time when, of course, they've cut the price of their models in that Chinese market. They've seen their market share go from about 10% to about 7% by the end of last year. The first 8 months of this year, they've seen sales fall by about 6%. So they need those additional revenues from their largest overseas market. They will be hoping that FSD and approval on that front will get them there.
Without a shadow of a doubt, FSD in China, that, my friend, would be a sweet, sweet deal. Yeah, Europe is cool too, but China, oh man, there is a lot of Tesla vehicles over there. Not only will Tesla experience the financial boost from subscription and outright purchases of FSD over there, but they're going to get an accelerated boost to miles driven on FSD. More data, faster progress, generalized autonomy, here we come.
Let's talk some Tesla. Diane, good morning. Up 25 bucks in like 3 days, Tesla, while the rest of the market kind of went into a meltdown mode.
Exactly, and even when you see a little bit of pressure on the overall market today, Tesla is trading counter to that. Here's the latest with regard to Tesla. It is revealing new plans. We'll call it a roadmap. They're calling it that, so we might as well stick with that. For FSD, full self-driving, right? To roll out in overseas in Europe and China by the first quarter of 2025. They've talked about that before. Now they're giving a timeline to this, a target for this. Keep in mind, a good chunk of Tesla sales comes from overseas. In fact, about a fifth of its sales comes from China. Now, of course, this all hinges on regulatory approval. So that is one of the things that this hinges on, but they are expecting to get that. And in terms of the developments with regard to FSD overall, there's also expected to be an improvement in mileage for FSD. That includes here. They're planning to roll out FSD version 13 next month versus the current version that exists here.
This is pretty interesting that the stock has been moving counter to the general tech market and other AI stuff?
I get it. No longer the Mag 7. Yeah.
I do still think there's a underappreciated story here on the self-driving stuff, given that everyone's so eager for AI-driven products, and we're kind of looking around, we're going, all right, where are the consumer products? We got Microsoft Copilot, all right, fine. Some people are buying that. We got the new iPhones coming out. We don't know who's going to be buying that. Google updated their phone. And then we've got Tesla, which has been like a decade in the making, revolutionizing like robotic cars. You know, like it seems like still they have something to contribute to this theme that the market has been very, very cynical so far on their ability to deliver.
Ding, 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 ding. Tell him what he's won, Johnny. Your mother right. Time magazine had the audacity to leave Elon Musk off of their top 100 AI innovators. Get the f out of here with that nonsense. That's all right. If they sleep, just let them sleep. Meanwhile, Tesla's AI team is going to keep advancing the future of autonomy, revolutionizing the way humans travel from point A to point B.
Tesla planning on releasing their fully self-driving technology in China and Europe in the first quarter of 2025. That's according to a post on the Tesla AI account on X. The rollout, which is still pending regulatory approval, is seen as a move to further stay ahead of Tesla's China-based EV rivals. Tesla shares are trading higher this week after reporting 63,000 sales in China in August. That's a 37% increase from the month of July. So talk to me about the degree to which this full self-driving release in China is set to be a meaningful positive catalyst for the company. I guess I'm curious to what extent I should be believing in that Q1 2025 outlook. What do you think?
I would be a little skeptical about that. I think there's sort of normal time in the car business, and then there's Tesla time. They might hit it, but I think it's entirely likely that it could, slip into the second or even the third quarter at least. FSD could be a difference maker for Tesla in China, and they also mentioned the European rollout as well. It is something unique. It's something different. I've tried multiple versions of it. It's gotten better over the years, but there's also a learning curve, not just for customers, but for regulators. So when things don't quite work, as they often don't with FSD, the governments and the regulatory bodies need to figure out how to govern that and, enforce things.
Now, there will be a point in time when Tesla will absolve the operator of liability, but admittedly, that's going to take a little bit more time. I mean, this is something that's never been done before in this capacity. Timelines may vary.
So we'll see.
Greg, even as I saw this tweet, it comes with the context that Tesla has put some very lofty timelines out into consumers' minds and into the markets before, but the track record for actually meeting some of those targets hasn't necessarily held up or come to fruition at the time at which they said that they would. What should we expect here for real?
You want to know what it means for real? Oh, okay. It doesn't matter when these timelines are met, because there is no other company on earth trying to achieve what they're achieving. If they miss the deadline by a quarter or two, or even a year or two, as long as no one else is coming to market with a generalized autonomous solution, free of a geofenced area using HD maps and expensive sensors like LiDAR and radar, Tesla will be just fine. Their vision-based approach makes them cheaper than any other autonomous service out there, and their substantial data lead of all the miles driven on FSD makes them damn near impossible to catch if you're just trying to replicate what they're doing.
Gordon Johnson, who has been a guest here and is a notorious bear on Tesla, he actually said there's a formula. When Tesla doesn't give great numbers, they come out with the full self-driving rhetoric, and they say if it's approved, and then it fails. It's sort of like this pump-up, overused tactic that is actually a meaningless announcement. Steve, what would you say to Gordon Johnson and the bears out there?
Look, Gordon's a little bearish out there, but the facts are the facts. Tesla's been consistently late in bringing full self-driving to market, and that is a problem.
I suppose that's a side effect from achieving something that's never been done before. I really don't care when they do it, as long as they're the first ones to do it.
The flip side is they just have a different strategy from Waymo. Give Waymo some credit. They said, we're going to tackle one city at a time. We're going to do it well. We're going to start in geofenced areas. We're going to make sure we don't have too many mistakes. But most importantly, we're going to get government approvals. They now have government approvals to operate San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Austin. They're growing, and they're growing pretty quickly. Elon, never one to shy away from a risk, has said, look, we have more experience than anybody. Everybody who drives a Tesla with self-driving features, including me and the sensors, they're capturing more data than anyone, and we're going to flip the switch nationally and perhaps globally all at once. I'm not sure that's the best strategy. They aren't close to getting government approvals anywhere, and right now it looks a little scary because Waymo has government approvals, Tesla doesn't. The question is, how close are they to having not 99 or 99.9% safety, but the 99.999? It doesn't feel like it's going to be here this year or in the first half of next year. It feels like they're falling behind. That puts real pressure on them because Tesla is between two waves of vehicles. They need to get new cars in the market, and they're late on that, or they need to get closer to flipping the switch. We're going to find out a lot on October 10th, but Tesla could be looking at two more pretty slow quarters in my book. We're going to see if Elon can pull a rabbit out of the hat in a few weeks.
And there you have it. The financial news media attempts to grapple with the roadmap timeline so graciously put out by the AI team over there at Tesla. Due to Elon being the boy that cried wolf, the skepticism is high, and probably rightfully so. But quite frankly, I couldn't care less about the dates attached to some of those milestones. As long as the team is actively pursuing those milestones with those ambitious target dates in mind, I'm a happy camper, folks. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Peace.